So, good evening, good evening, good evening. It is a good evening if you're not a Chelsea fan, because I've seen everyone online having a good old chuckle and a laugh at Chelsea this afternoon. But Kenny's come to join me. We're going to put our spin on it. We're going to tell you what we think of it. And I'm going to read this statement out from Chelsea Football Club. And we're going to go through the implications of the sanctions from the government. But Chelsea Football Club has been advised that its owner, Roman Abramovich, has been sanctioned by the UK government by virtue of his 100% ownership of Chelsea FC PLC and affiliated entities. Chelsea FC would normally be subject to the same sanctions regime as Abramovich. However, the UK government has issued a general licence that permits Chelsea FC to continue certain activities. We will fulfil our men's and women's team fixtures today against Norwich and West Ham, respectively, and intend to engage in discussions with the UK government regarding the scope of the licence. This will include seeking permission for the licence to be amended in order to allow the club to operate as normal as possible. We will also be seeking guidance from the UK government on the impact of these measures on the Chelsea Foundation and its important work in our communities. The club will update further when it is appropriate to do so. Kenny, I've seen, and I'm sure you have as well, a lot of people laughing, joking, etc., etc. Which, listen, I get it. It's a bit of football banter. I understand that, but this is massive, not just for Chelsea, but for football in general in this country. Well, your country. I'm not there. I'm in Spain, but it's massive. They're not allowed to have their club shop open. They're not allowed to trade anything online. They're not allowed to renew player contracts. Not allowed at the moment to sell players, buy players. They're literally just allowed to kick a ball around. No fans are allowed to go to games other than season ticket holders, which means the game against Chelsea away, as it stands, you can't go as an away fan. And there's other long-term implications as well. A lot of sponsors could pull out from Chelsea. Obviously, their kit sponsor free. That's a massive kit deal for them. Obviously, I think they're sponsored by Nike as well. That could be another big deal that they could lose. So there is a lot of knock-on effects. What's your take on it, mate?
Well, what my take on it is, first and foremost, I think what's happened is that I think all the clues were there last week when firstly he wanted to transfer ownership to the Chelsea Trust Foundation and charitable organisations, and then secondly when he said he was going to sell the club, and that that he wasn't going to take any of the debts, because the implications of what's happening now is that seems to be a misconception amongst a lot of fans who are not actually do not know their legal obligation or legal law. It was the central government who actually, in effect, stopped Chelsea from operating. Chelsea haven't stopped operating for any financial reasons. For a start, they haven't they're not bankrupt because of not being able to pay their tax bill. They are about to pay a tax bill. What's happened is the government have basically frozen Abramovich's assets and said that he cannot profit or benefit for any sales for his football club. So any debts that are owed by the club have to be met to a debtor, but the only debtor that Chelsea have is to Roman himself. Now, what Roman's done is that he's tried to, he's saying that the debts are no longer going to be called in. But a lot of people think, well, Chelsea are still going to be deduct points. No, it's not going to happen. It won't happen. There won't be deducted points because this is an enforced sale by the government. All right, they haven't breached any tax laws and breached any fit and property. It's a government sanction due to the situation in Russia and Ukraine. So that's the first thing. The biggest implication is for football in general. And not just football, but I think the government in general, because whether we like it or not, the Premiership and the government have invited billionaires to prop up and enhance this economy. In terms of football, without billionaire ownership, we wouldn't have got all the TV deals and all the sponsorship that's coming into our game. Let's not forget that Arsenal fans wanted Usmanov to buy into the Arsenal club, and he wanted to replicate what Abramovich was doing at Chelsea, and they were screaming and shouting for him. Remember, he had a 33% share ownership, and they wanted to have 100% share ownership because we could have done that. The question for Arsenal fans is, because I spoke to a Chelsea fan and I spoke to an Arsenal fan, would you take what Chelsea have in this situation, but take the 2 European Cups, the World Club Championship, the Super Cups, and all that success for a day like that? I spoke to about 10 Arsenal fans. They couldn't answer me that. They couldn't answer me that. They couldn't answer me all those questions. The odd one went all pious and said, "Well, the integrity of the club." I said, "Yeah, but did you want Osman off the club?" Yeah, I remember us discussing it, Kenny. So that's the problem football's got. Is in terms of Chelsea Football Club, they're in a lot of trouble next season, because the situation is right now is that Abramovich isn't going to get his like 3 billion. So which will happen is that it'll go at a knockdown price, and I think that it'll go at about 800 million, 1.5 billion tops. Anything over it's just unrealistic. So in that respect, I think that Chelsea Football Club need a quick sale for the next season, because as you said before, Azpilicueta out of contract, Rudiger out of contract. You got all the other players on loan who are going to be out of contract, so you can't give them any new deals. You know, or that, and it's not just people like that. It's the fact that you've got situations, as you mentioned, season tickets, renewals next season. If Chelsea gets to semi-finals of the FA Cup, what happens? Are they able to sell tickets to fit their allocation, possible FA Cup final, possible European Cup final? So it's all little situations like that, because the season tickets are pre-sold.
Yeah.
What about new tickets? People like me want to go Chelsea away, can't go, because at the moment we can't buy tickets to Chelsea. So, and then the most important thing is going to hurt Chelsea as well, is you mentioned the merchandise. That is a massive, massive situation that is going to hurt this football club, because they can't sell no online merchandise, and the club shop can't operate as well. So we're talking about job losses.
Yeah.
Out, you know what I mean?
And on top of that, the kit sponsor, manufacturer, I think it's Nike. I'm sure it's Nike. Yeah, they would have done a deal with Chelsea based on guesstimates of how much they're going to get back. Yeah, but the same with Adidas with us. Adidas and Nike would have said to Arsenal and Chelsea respectively, right, we'll give you X amount of millions every year, but we want a target of this much back, and we'll continue to renew the deal potentially at the end of it. Yeah, instead, they now can't sell a single kit for next season as it stands. And all them sponsors that they've got are probably sitting there quivering and quaking in their boots at the minute, thinking, oh, hang on, we better cut ties with this club real quick. Yeah, because it's a sinking ship as it stands. Me personally, I don't think that club's going to fold. Yeah, they will find an owner.
There is a way. Actually, there is a way, because Simon Jordan mentioned it on Talk Sport. I know Simon was very much maligned by Chelsea fans because he said that Abramovich was the worst thing that ever happened to football, and Arsenal fans, obviously the YouTube fans, felt that he was looking down on them fans who have got big profiles. But the situation is that there is a way where if the money goes to where Abramovich first intended it, the Chelsea Trust, the Chelsea charitable organisations, if everything goes towards that, in terms of ticket sales, player contracts and that, then that is a way for Chelsea to operate next season until they get a new owner. But in terms of like any process of sale, any way Abramovich is getting that money is when this conflict ends. Let's not forget that this conflict has been in the making for about 5 years. In fact, it's been in the making since the breakup of the Soviet Union. But if we were to sort of like rewind back, the evidence regarding all of these problems started about 4 years ago, when Abramovich abandoned expansion of Stamford Bridge because of his visa status and his domicile status, and he became a citizen of Israel in order that he'll be able to come and go as he pleases in the country. So that was the first warning about his links to Putin. The warning signs are there, but it wasn't heeded. I think Chelsea fans, were saying, "Oh, where is he? He's no longer interested." That was the warning sign. That was when potentially he probably would have sold, because Putin was always going to invade Ukraine. Because as far as Putin's concerned, is that Ukraine are too close to the West, they're too close to the Americans, and there's still parts of Ukraine that are dominated by Russian citizens, and they want to sort of get rid of Russianism. So as far as Putin was always going to try and annex part of Ukraine into Russia, and then and that was always going to happen. It was going to, it could have happened in 2017, 2018. It was always in the pipeline, and Abramovich was always supportive of this.
Yeah, it was always there in the background somewhere, wasn't it?
Abramovich interviewed his Politburo.
Mm.
So he was all, and he wasn't he a governor of one of the Russian, like I said, principalities? So he has got political links. So this was always on the cards, and you know the situation with guy in Chelsea was always in the making. He's always had warning signs about his situation. But in terms of like what's happening now, they need to sell fast. They need to get an administrator, a lawyer, a government-backed lawyer, and then what will happen is that it's got to be a free-for-all. All those people now who are going to buy Chelsea are going to be problematic for the club and for their fans because they're going to take their time now. You know, there's no rush for them to buy. In fact, they're going to wait to the 11th hour. Who knows? By July, anything, and that's going to hurt Chelsea in terms of pre-season. Yeah, that's when you know what I mean.
And that's the thing as well. I think like Chelsea are going to struggle to prepare now going forward. Yeah, because and let's not forget the season's still going. They're currently third in the Champions League. They're still in the FA Cup. So all of this going on in the background, it could totally ruin their season this season, but then continue to ruin it into next season. Because if they somehow don't get top four, which listen, they might still not get top four. We win our game 3 points behind them, Kenny. Yeah, Man United or Tottenham, if they put a little run together with all of this going on with Chelsea, all of a sudden they could nosedive. You know, the players are going to be uncertain. They're not going to know what's going on. The thing that won't, I feel bad for is the fans. Yeah, I feel really, it's always the fans that get stung in it every time, whether it be a price rise with our club or this, nothing to do with football. It's nothing to do with the fans. And now only season ticket holders. And like you said, you brought a good point up earlier about the FA Cup and the Champions League because they ain't included on Chelsea's tickets, as far as I know.
Not at all. They're not included in Chelsea's tickets. So it's got to be a situation. It's who's selling the tickets, or in terms of like potential tickets for semi-finals, and maybe semi-finals for the FA Cup and semi-finals for the Champions League, and possible final. It depends. If UEFA deal directly with the fans, and the FA do it directly with the fans, then that's fine. They could go straight to them. But the problem with UEFA and the FA is that they haven't got the list of all their season ticket holders. Chelsea have got to be cooperative to this. And if it goes to that situation, there's going to be season ticket holders of Chelsea who can miss out on members. Because you know what UEFA do? It's sort of free-for-all with their allocations. It could be first come, first serve. So loyal season tickets like Frank, Becky, Tony, all the people that we know won't get tickets. If potentially won't get tickets if it goes straight through the FA. But it's the only way because I'm assuming some of that money goes into Chelsea. The only way around this is if they say that the prize money for being part of the FA is included in ticket prices. So if the prize money includes participation and potential ticket prices, then maybe Chelsea can sell tickets to their fans for those big games if they're involved, because of the fact that they're still going to be allowed to receive prize money from the Premiership for their participation. They're going to be receiving prize money from UEFA, which they're entitled to do, and they're going to receive prize money from the FA. So that's the only way around future ticket sales. The FA Cup they get far. But in terms of like league matches going to silver members or whatever they call silver members or red members, wherever red members, they're not getting tickets. If after today, they're not getting tickets for any other home games moving forward.
Yeah, fact. Yeah, they get nothing, mate. Literally nothing.
They're not getting tickets So that they're the ones who I feel sorry for, because
Mm.
they're the ones who have to, like I said, having that go on a ballot and be on a first comes first serve when they go on general sale. There's no such thing at Chelsea. The club
No.
shop's got to and the online shop's got to shut. So if we wanted to go be a voyeurs and we went to the club shop right now, there'd probably be still shutters down because
Yeah.
it's an embargo from the government.
Mm. And this is the thing, like I think if you're a Chelsea fan, you're going to try and look at the positive side that look, somebody's going to buy the club, the government are going to get a sale done. Yeah. But at the same time, you raised a wicked point earlier when you said that as soon as the government allows billionaires to come in and help the country out and blah, 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 it's very tricky and difficult when it comes to stuff like this, because all of a sudden they have to act. Yeah, they have to be seen to be doing something. And the thing is, this then potentially messes it up for other clubs like ours, for example. We've got an owner that most people don't want it. We want an owner like Abramovich. But now an Abramovich type owner from that part of the world is probably sitting there thinking, boy, even if we get out of all of this drama, there ain't no way I'm buying a Premier League club.
That's the thing. The thing, people like Gary Neville have done a good job here.
Mm.
Because what's happening right now, it's not quite the target that they've been looking for, but they've always wanted football to be regulated in all aspects, in terms of like the competition, people spending beyond their means, breaking FFP. Now they've got a big fish because the government have sanctioned a big spending football club and one of the biggest clubs in Europe. And basically they're now saying basically you're going to get this club on the cheap, but we're going to keep our eye on you. So what will happening right now is that any owner, say a Chinese billionaire, because remember China supports Russia as well. You get a Chinese billionaire buying any of their clubs. If you're a US billionaire and you want to sort of get as part of your portfolio, get Chelsea now, because right now anything to do with the West or the US is flavour of the month. The Premier League still want billionaires, but they don't want billionaires from China and Russia. And then what will happen is that once they deal with China and Russia, they're going to start looking at, clubs owned by a separate island or a separate country. That's the next after. Because what's happening now is the genie's out of the bottle now. Everything that people in football have been asking for, government regulations, fit and proper persons test in terms of ownership, people protesting about it, international. This is going to open a can of worms now. To the extent that, football clubs have to be very careful who they sell to. Very careful in terms of like what links do they have to politics. Because remember, UEFA have always been against, like government participation in any international teams and clubs. So this is opening up a massive, massive can of worms. And, and I think it's football's, the government are basically in league with the Premier League and probably fans who want a level playing field. I think they're going to achieve that now, because Chelsea are going to get an owners and they're going to be able to operate, but they're never going to get a situation where Abramovich or an Abramovich type owner is going to spend money on all aspects of the football club and not ask and just say, right, your debts are not to the banks, they're to me. Can't happen again. Won't happen again. And that's the problem Chelsea are going to have. Unless they go down the Arab and Saudi route, but they need to always have in the back of the mind the government can act on that further moving forward. Because remember, this is just a start of their revenge against a billionaire.
Yep, 100%. Well, what do you? Obviously, we're talking about this at the moment. Obviously, as Arsenal fans, what do you actually think will happen? Like, obviously, there's loads of things that can happen. What do you actually think will? Do you think that the government are just going to sell it to the one that they want to sell it to, or
what will happen?
The best person, or do you think it's going to be sell it to the highest bidder?
No, I think what will happen on a short-term basis, the charitable trusts who are dragging their feet last week And now, because of pressure from the supporters of Chelsea,
Yeah.
they're going to now go and clap in hand and have discussions with Nadine Dorries and talk about a situation where they're going to have a temporary government-backed third-party ownership on behalf of the football family, and they're going to say, right, it's now going to go to the charitable trust regarding Chelsea. So basically, they can have situations where the club shop can be open, but all profits go to a trust. Nothing, as long as they can prove that nothing goes to the club, because it's in the name of Abramovich, then this is a way out for them in terms of any like I said there, any being operating and being able to sell season tickets. So it'll be on a minimal situation. There'll be no situations where they're going to be able to buy players and discuss player contracts. It's going to be like the minimal things, like moving forward, renewing season tickets for next season. Have maybe getting a situation where they can agree to the FA that fans who want to go to the FA Cup semi-finals, they get there, or European Cup games or finals, then it'll be through the Chelsea Trust. That's the basically like the short-term situation. Buying players, forget it, not happening. Players who like Azpilicueta and Rudiger, finding her off. If any other player that's out of contract, you're going to go for free. You're not getting no contracts. They're going to say, look,
this could genuinely drag on for years.
That's it. Because they're going to say, what's the point of punishing you? We're going to let you operate so people don't lose their jobs in terms of like the match day department, and maybe people who work in like the club shops. As long as that aspect, that's fine. But any other aspects, wheeling, dealing, forget it, mate. It's not happening until you get a new owner. But I think that because it's affecting, it's going to cause unemployment. Then I do think that if the Chelsea Trust, have a temporarily agreed third-party ownership, as Abramovich attended 2 weeks ago, then I think there is a way out that for those smallish departments we've got, because remember the sponsorship money is already been banked. Yeah. And things like TV money, prize money, that's already come to them. The biggest problem is if sponsors pull out, then they won't be able to negotiate a new sponsorship deal because the new owner will have to do that. So the trusts are only going to be able to operate on a limited basis. So whatever happens right now, they're going to need a sale by at least next June, in order that they can prepare for pre-season and start operating in the transfer market.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, Kenny, it's been a pleasure, mate, as always. And
no problem.
I know you're busy.
Just remember one thing. Just remember one thing, right? As much as we're laughing at Chelsea and laughing at Chelsea, let's remember. I can only speak for myself. I want their success.
100%.
I don't want my club to be armed. But there's always going to be, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, you're still going to cover, the billionaire owner. But all I'm saying to you right now is be very, very careful what you wish for, and do your homework on the person who's putting their bid for the club. It's not just asking whether he's got, first and foremost, you need to find out if he's got the money, and then find out if there's any links. Because I'll tell you one thing, right? It can end in tears.
Oh, all day long, mate. All day long. And we're going to see this unfold over the next months, maybe even years. But listen, mate, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Kenny. And
no problem, mate.
We'll be back again tomorrow with a podcast, mate.
Definitely.
I'm sure this
we can talk about Arsenal, Leicester, and then moving forward, Arsenal versus Liverpool, which are the biggest situations. Who knows? All I can say to all my friends who are Chelsea fans, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, the stress you're going through.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. But listen, big up to everybody who has watched. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow Kenny, Kenny Ken 1972 on Twitter and Insta. And we're out of here. I'll be back again at 11 o'clock tonight, UK time. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It's going to be a transfer video. So make sure you come back and check that out and go and check the videos out from yesterday if you haven't already. But until then, I'll tet her out.
I'll tet her out.